Welcome to Wading into Retirement. In today's episode, we talk about the go-go, the slow-go, and the no-go years.
I want to be a go-go. Hi, welcome back into Wading into Retirement. I'm Laura and
I'm Mike, and someone has the giggles.
I do. Because usually I fluff that up and I've said, I'm Mike. And then I've looked at you perplexed while you look at me perplexed.
So in today's episode, Laura wants to be a go-go girl.
Yes, I do. Not a no-go girl.
No. So yeah, we got to thinking about retirement and spending in retirement.
Yes.
And we've talked in the past about how it's going to be tough to watch your bank balance or your investments go down, even though that's kind of by design what's supposed to happen in retirement.
Gulp.
So there are three categories, or I'll call it,
Phases, stages.
Phases, stages, categories, all those things. There's three of them that are very popular that I've done some research and found out about. So they refer to the three stages of retirement when you're drawing retirement income as the go-go years, the slow-go years, and the no-go years. So why don't we talk about each of those, and I'll give some stats on the average amount of money that people may use for each of those.
I like the titles for each one of those. I think they're almost self-explanatory. So I'm thinking go-go is not anything to do with like the go-go dancers. It's more, we're on the move. We're going.
But you could be going as a go-go dancer. So it could be a dual definition. So the go-go years, let's assume you retire when you're 60. The go-go years are kind of like the first 10 years after retirement. So that's when you've been waiting for retirement, you're excited about retirement, you're probably traveling a lot, you've probably got good health.
And spending a lot.
Yeah, so the expectation there is you're probably going to spend more money in the go-go years just because you are more active and you're doing all those things that you worked 30, 35 years to be able to do in your first 10 years of retirement.
But what is the sweet spot? Like, how much should you spend in that time frame? Or what are they predicting that we would spend so that we don't go over? Because I think we'd go over, not under, because I got a big bucket list.
Hard to say. So the average stats, these are US dollars, are the go-go years are about $65,000 a year.
For a couple?
Yep, US.
Are you sure? My shoe collection alone, I'm thinking, might tip that one over the edge, but I'm just teasing.
Think Payless shoes.
I can't. You know how much I spent on slippers.
So then we move
episode.
into the next phase, which they call the slow-go years. So by definition, what would you think a slow-go year is?
I think slowing down. You're starting to feel those aches and pains, maybe not taking dancing lessons, but still, traveling, going out for coffee, doing fun things, but maybe sticking closer to home, not wanting to do as much travel or adventuresome things.
Yep. And I think most of these three categories are kind of based on health as well. So it may vary based on ages, but again, the go-go years 60 to 70, the slow-go years probably 70 to 80 if you're lucky.
And how much money am I going to have less to spend?
See, that's the important thing.
Shoes.
So it drops basically 10,000 per phase. So now we're down to 55,000 a year for your slow-go years.
That's still not too bad though, really,
Yep.
when you think about it.
Well, yeah, it's probably like one less major trip a year or two less major trips a year, that kind of thing. Just because you probably have seen everything you want to see and you're starting to slow down.
Fair enough.
And then the final phase, we'll say it's 80 plus. It is the no-go year. So that sounds bad.
Not very well. Anything with a no in it is not usually a good thing.
So apparently we're not going. I don't know what that means. Does that mean you're staying? It does. But
Like retirement home kind of staying, or
yeah,
sort
so
of the latter where you don't really want to go
yeah.
anywhere.
So you're really slowing down.
Still
you
have
have,
interests.
probably more health issues, more mobility issues. So you're more comfortable just staying put, staying where you are. It could mean moving into retirement homes. It could mean all those sorts of things. But when you get to that point, the amount of money you spend generally is going to be lower.
So let me guess, it drops another 10K.
It does drop. Aren't you perceptive today?
I'm seeing a trend.
So that takes us down to about 45,000 US dollars a year in the no-go years. So it's a gradual decline, and I think from a lifestyle perspective, those three phases or categories make a lot of sense to me.
Well, I think it gives you a guideline to plan to. To your earlier point, everybody's going to be different, and I think those ages and stages are going to be happening at different ages. Some may be longer, some may be shorter. But I think once you're in the boat that we're in, where we're planning our retirement, trying to figure out financially where we're going to land, it's a good rule of thumb. It's kind of like the other rule of thumb that we used on how much of our base retirement savings we can spend per year and how much we would put away.
4% rule.
So check out that on one of our previous videos, because I think this is another one of those golden rules that we may want to sort of plan to as we're moving in faster and faster.
But you bring up a good point. And this is all about finances today. So the 4% rule is kind of a, only use 4% of your net worth every year to live on. And that gets you to death. But when you overlay the go, slow go, no go, that's not actually the same thing. So you might be looking at 6% for your first 10 years, and then 4%, and then 2%, right?
Yep.
So the 4% was always, it's an average amount. And there are a lot of financial people out there now that say that whole 4% thing isn't something you really want to follow anymore. There's lots of factors involved, but
So it could be they're onto the slow go, no go, and go go.
It very much could be. Very much could be. So we'd be interested in your feedback to see, A, are you in one of the three phases? And if you have passed through one or two of the phases, have you seen a reduction in the amount of money that you spend? And was it, ballpark what the averages are that we quoted in this segment?
That's a good point, because a lot of the other channels that we follow for interest and information, they're really still in the go-go phase. So it'd be very interesting to see if we have some that are in the process of switching phases and if they're still keeping up their social media. So it might be something to check out.
Yeah, and that is right. I mean, you think about YouTube channels, it's content that drives views. And, people running around San Miguel de Allende, as an example, with a camera showing you cobblestone streets. That's very much a go-go year activity, right?
100%.
I can see a little bit of that in the slow-go years, but the no-go years, there's probably not a lot of YouTube channels out there that are dedicated to the no-go. Maybe because they're gone.
It could be.
Very morbid.
Yes. But let's go back to the go-go years.
Anyways, we hope you subscribe. We hope you like the content. And I will be in San Miguel in the next few days during Dia de Muertes. So we should have some nice footage and video of that great celebration.
And I will be puppy sitting at home here in Canada as the weather gets cooler, although it's beautiful now, with the dogs feeling very Muertes and busy.
She had an opportunity to come and she refused. Let's get that straight.
Yeah.
Anyways, enough of the quarreling. We will see you next week on Wading into Retirement.
Thanks again.